Hey guys, Jenn Ferguson here with Artistic Painting Studio. I have a super fun project for you today. We are going to foil this really cute trucker hat, so let's go get started. Hey guys, we are going to get started on this really cute trucker style baseball cap. And I am going to foil the top section and part of the bill. I think I'm going to leave the red right around the outside edge. And I'm going to mix it up with using a couple of different foils. We've got our wild leopard spots in gold, small and large. Okay, so we're going to use two different patterns. This is always fun to do, okay? I've really been having a blast with these hats lately. So we are going to go ahead and I'm finding it's going to be way easier to do like the top section and foil that, do this section, foil that, and then do underneath and foil that. Trying to do both sections at the same time just seems to be kind of crazy, okay? It was a little bit challenging the first time I did that. So we're going to use Bondago Clear. This is going to be our seal coat. And we have to seal the fabric first, meaning that, I feel like I got some glitter on here. Okay, we're going to have a little extra bling. If you just try to foil directly over a canvas item like this, you will find that your foil adhesive will just soak in. So we've got to go through the process of sealing the whole surface first. Now I can seal everything right now together, okay? And then we'll just wait. When we do our foil adhesive, I will isolate and do one section at a time. Bondago Clear is a paint and primer all in one. It just happens to be a clear product so that we can save the color of the hat if that's the color we want. We also have Bondago in black, white, and canvas white. So if you wanted to seal the hat but use a different base coat color because of your foil choice, you can also do that as well. I've done quite a few of them with Bondago black, and that worked great, okay? So I'm going to seal all the areas that I want to foil, and this will take overnight to dry, so don't try to speed up this process. We're making this fabric extremely wet because it's going to soak in, but when it soaks in, it should also give us a really good seal that our foil adhesive will work great on top of this process. It won't look milky white when it dries. It will just normally look a darker red, is what I'm always finding. It just deepens the color. So I'm going to do these top panels first, and then I'm going to do the bill of the cap. And like I said, I want to leave that outside area. Okay, it's right the one section beyond the stitching, okay? I'm going to leave red so that we have some fun contrast and have some of the red on the bill. So my stitching normally is really good for kind of giving me a little bit of a barrier. I want to say almost as like a dam, because I've done a few of these now. So even if you feel like your freehand is not that great, the stitching does help a little bit. Gives you a line to follow. Plus I said like it kind of gives you a little bit of a dam where it's not allowing the Bondago to go over on the other side. But I'm going to leave that whole outside section undone. So this does go a little bit slower. You got to be patient. Trying to paint that on nice and straight, okay? I did pick one of my newer brushes that was angled cut because I always feel that when I'm trying to paint a nice straight line or have to do something a little bit more detailed like this, a newer brush is going to definitely work better for you because the bristles are not all flared out. There's always a reason to have a ton of different brushes. Okay, I picked up way too much there, but we'll just brush it in. We're not going to worry about that. Okay, I think I got the whole top of it sealed well. If you feel like there's any spot that you missed, more is better. So don't worry about that. Add a little bit more if you think you missed a spot or it just doesn't look as dark as the other areas. And we can do all of our seal coating right now. So I'm going to flip the hat over and I am going to stay on the inside rim here. So where the fabric meets and it's stitched, I'm going to try to stay on the inside because we're leaving this whole outside. I think maybe I will go for the stitching on the inside too. That might even be easier. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do the stitching as well. So we're going to leave that red on the outside all the way, both top and bottom. Okay, we'll have to see if the stitching is as good on the bottom. Okay, yeah, it's giving me a little bit of a dam. Okay, there's just less to hold on to now because the front is all wet, so I'm trying to keep my hands off of it. If you don't want to try to do all your seal coat at one time, you definitely could do the top of the hat, wait for all that to dry, and then come do the bottom. I'm just trying to save time and get all my sealing done at one time. Now, if you don't want to isolate like this, you don't have to. You can do the entire inside and outside of the bill with the foil. I was just trying to do something a little bit different and thought it would be so cute to keep some of that red because the red looks so great up against the leopard print that I wanted to have red out there. Just takes a little bit longer because you're going to have to be a little bit more careful, or especially for me. Maybe some of you that freehand all the time, this will be super easy for you. For those of us that don't, we're just going to have to be a little bit more patient. Okay, that wasn't too bad, guys. Okay, our hat is completely covered now, so we just have to let it dry. My little trick that I do is just open the cap completely up. I like to use a hanger and just hang the hat. That way everything will have a chance to dry and seal, and we'll come back for more. Okay, our Bondago Clear has completely dried, and you can see there's a little color difference when you seal that area. So it's going to be a little bit darker color. So like I said, I am now going to do one section of the hat at a time with the foil adhesive because I found trying to do the top hat part and the bill at the same time was a lot of challenge. So I'm going to go ahead and put my foil adhesive, okay, which is our next layer. So let me show you guys our big can here. It's our Artsyville Embellishments foil adhesive. It looks milky white in the container. I've already taken some out and put it on to what I call a sticky plate. It's just a foam plate. It's easier to work off of than trying to work out of your container, okay? So we're going to try now to be real careful about only getting the adhesive onto this top section, okay? And this is already sealed with our Bondago Clear, and you'll be able to definitely feel a really big difference in the way the fabric is going to feel. You'll definitely notice and know that it has been sealed super well, okay? So I'm trying to keep this off of the brim area and only bring it up onto the hat portion here. And you want to make sure, again, you're doing good coverage with both layers. You don't want to skimp, as you're not going to have any good foil transfer if you don't have your adhesive there, okay? And it's always better to have a good coat than a super thin coat. Not that you want it dripping, but don't be frugal, okay? You're going to see how it goes on milky white, just like it is in the container. It will completely dry to clear. So it will go from milky white to clear, and it will also stay a little shinier. So you'll know definitely where you have it on the hat. If I didn't mention this earlier, I do like to let that Bondago dry overnight, because it's going to give it full time to completely dry, okay? Don't just give it a couple hours or feel like, oh gosh, it's dry. Definitely give it a lot of time to completely dry throughout the entire fabric, okay? Depending on how, you don't know how far it's soaked in, okay? And then when it comes to the foil adhesive, again, I like to make sure that this is really dry as well. So make sure to leave the foil adhesive for at least a couple of hours. Don't try to push any of this process. We need that foil adhesive to dry to a really good firm hard tack. And we're on fabric, we're on an odd shape, so we're have all the challenges here, okay, I should say. So like I said, I'm going to do this in stages, just because of the fact that I know it's going to be easier to work on this hat if I do one section at a time. I sealed everything at once, but we're just going to put the foil adhesive in this one area. We'll come back and foil that, and then I can put the foil adhesive back down here onto the bill. So I'm going to break it up into stages, just because you're going to find if you try to do all of it at once, I just felt like it was a big challenge, and I don't want to, I want you guys to break it up into a couple of different sections. Okay, as you can see, it's starting to dry a little bit over here, okay, which means it's going to go clear and shiny. And again, wait a few hours, and then we'll be back for some foiling fun. Okay, we are ready to actually get our foil transferred to the first section of the hat that's ready. As you can see, it is shiny, okay? So we have it sealed everywhere, but we've only put the foil adhesive on the one section. Okay, I'm going to use one of my favorites, okay? And I think that this is being a big section, our wild leopard spots large is going to be great, okay? So you're going to end up getting some wrinkles, some crinkles. It's just going to happen. Don't worry about it, okay? Most of the time, the foils still look really good, even with some wrinkles, okay? When we do things that are by hand, we always have to realize we're going to have some of those imperfections being hand done. But I think this is going to look absolutely stunning. Now I'm wanting to scrub really well, because we still have fabric that we're working on. There's texture, okay? And I want to try to get the best release I possibly can. Sorry about that noise, but there's an alarm that just went off on my phone. I put it in the do not disturb mode and it still went off. Okay, so back to our hat here. Let's just give it a really good scrub. And you can always see with this particular foil, not all of them do it, but when you see it starting to get clear, that means it's got a really good transfer there. But not all of them do that, okay? So I'm using my other hand to give me some resistance as I'm scrubbing. Okay, and then we'll start checking here. And if we feel that we want to try to get a little bit more coverage, we'll just let that foil fall right back into place. I'm going to go for my toothbrush. Sometimes I can get a little bit more scrubbed in, and we'll check it again. Okay, oh, that came out good. Okay, so the toothbrush is adding a little bit more coverage, and sometimes even releasing the foil and putting it back down and scrubbing again, you'll get even a little bit better coverage as well in those areas. Now, we're on red fabric, so any place where the foil doesn't transfer completely, I'm definitely going to see some of that red. Now, I chose not to base coat and just go onto the red, knowing that that could happen, but I thought it would still look really good, being that we've got a red hat, so it doesn't matter. But if you wanted to, you could always change the base coat color to either black or even a tan color to complement the foil a little bit better. Okay, let's see. Our little reveal here. I'm going to do a little bit more scrubbing, even with the direction of the fabric, and see if that helps as well. Oh, that came out really awesome, you guys. And like I said, I can still see a little bit of the red, but I think that looks really cool, being that we're on the red hat. So our next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put our foil adhesive down here on the bottom so that we can get that section transferred as well. Okay, now that our top of the hat is done, I'm going to go ahead and put our foil adhesive on the area that I've sealed. And remember, I left the outside edge unsealed, so I'm not going to be putting any adhesive there. So again, you're going to have to be a little bit more careful with your application. Just don't be in a hurry, and make sure you're brushing nice and slow so that you can keep those nice straight lines. And I think probably the hardest area, I'm just going to try to get some of the foil adhesive off of here, is to get into this corner right here, okay? That one I think is my trickiest area. But looks like we got it there, okay? And again, don't be frugal with your application. Make sure you're laying down a nice, generous coat of the foil adhesive. It's going to also provide you the best release, so make sure you're just nice and generous. Okay, once I have the top part done, I'm just going to try to straighten out, smooth out as I can my brush strokes, so look a little bit neater there. And then I am going to go ahead and flip the hat over and go ahead and just do the under part here. And again, remember, I left that outside edge because you can see the color difference. Okay, it is brighter on the outside. The Bondago Clear makes, when it seals, it makes the fabric a little bit darker, so you can tell where you have sealed and not. Okay, so I'm going to get in here and try to get this side done at the same time. That way all we'll have left to do is transfer our foil. I feel like I'm getting a little messy here on the back side, trying to stay on the inside of that, okay? See if I can clean up my lines a little bit over here. So once again, once I have all the foil adhesive on here, we're going to hang the hat up and allow this to dry for at least 2 to 3 hours. I always feel it's always best to leave it longer than shorter, okay? Like I said, I think the hardest part here is just trying to get it in that little point, okay, without getting it everywhere else. So that's my only tricky area. Then smooth out your brush strokes. Okay, again, the foil adhesive is going to go from looking milky white to being completely clear and shiny. And I am just going to hang this up, let it dry, and we'll be back for our final foil transfer. Okay, it looks like we are ready to finish out this gorgeous hat project. And I have cut off excess foil from where I already transferred, so I kind of got that curve already going. And I'm going to go ahead and do the large on the front, and when I flip it over, I think we're going to go ahead and put the small pattern on that side, which I think will be fun. I also have laid down a piece of waxed paper, which is wonderful because when you have a project that is sticky on both sides, it's nice to have something underneath that you know the hat or your project will not get stuck to. Okay, so one thing you want to consider is you not only have the width here, but you also are going to be going further back on the sides, okay? So don't just wrap a piece of foil that's this wide. You need to be able to get back another inch or so. So when positioning, I'm going to position this, what I would say, high, okay? I'm going to snip it a couple of times, which I always feel helps it to lay down better. And that way you could get it completely pressed down to the surface. We're going to grab our scrub brush and give a good scrub. We're also going to grab that toothbrush, which I feel works great on these smaller projects, okay? Because sometimes I feel like I can just get in here way, way better because I want to get right up against the hat section. I want to get into the stitching really well. And it is nice that the bill has some kind of a cardboard or some material in there that keeps it a lot stiffer than the top of the hat did. Okay, let's take a peek and start to see. Okay, the only place I feel like I really don't have good coverage yet is right up here at the top. I feel like I can see quite a bit of the red coming through. And we'll just scrub a little harder. Also the stitches. The stitches I felt were definitely going to probably give us a little run for our money. But that's okay. We might just have a little bit more distressed look in that area. Oh, but look how cute that is going to be. That is going to be so fabulous. Okay, so we're going to finish this baby off. We're going to go ahead and lay our foil on this side as well. And try to get it on there. Scrub. You guys should know this routine really well. Okay, I'm going to get rid of my wax paper because sometimes that's really slick to try to scrub on. But it is great. Okay, it's a really great little tip or trick. So if you have done something and you've got two sides that have adhesive on it, or you just have an area that's sticky on the bottom, that wax paper is going to be a wonderful trick for you. Okay, let's get out our toothbrush. Get a little final scrubbing done here. Okay, let's start to do the peel and reveal and see. Okay, I think I'm going to put it back down and try a little bit more. Okay, and there we go. Okay, we're going to have a little bit of a distressed look because, like I said, that red is going to come through, but I think it totally just blends in with the whole hat, being that we have the red. I love this outside edge being left red. I think it just adds some extra character to it. And to finish this off, we are going to be using our final coat, and you can use this in semi-gloss or low gloss. And I think I'm going to grab the low gloss because I don't want this too shiny, so I'll be right back. Okay, I grabbed the right bottle. I've got my low gloss this time. I have poured some out onto a plate, and you guys realize how super thin this product is. And it really is meant to go on thin, okay? So don't try to put it on heavy at all. It should be a super thin layer. And if you need to, you can always put on a couple of coats. This product goes a long way, okay? So that, I think this is this is a 16-ounce jar. And I want to tell you, you guys, that has lasted me a long, long time. So realize it'll go far. They say that I think the quart will cover like 1,000 square feet. So if that tells you how much product you're going to get out of a quart, that's a lot. Normally a quart's going to go maybe 100 feet or so. So I'm going to brush on a full layer of the final coat everywhere my foil is. And you could always even bling this hat out some more if you wanted to add some rhinestones. I know they've been putting some patches on them. You could also put a chain. I mean, there's just lots of fun things. Or you could be like me and probably leave it just as is and let it be a statement all on its own. But make sure you've got full coverage everywhere you have put the foils on. We want to protect our foils so nothing happens to them. And this hat will last you quite a while. Okay guys, I think I've got it. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and I sure can't wait to see your projects as well. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today on this fun tutorial. Y'all know I love making these hats. And for a full list of all materials and supplies, you'll find them in the description below. And do us a big, big favor, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our upcoming tutorials.